Welcome back to The Full View. At least 10 cabinet ministers in South Sudan have tested positive for COVID-19. Among them is Information Minister and Government Spokesperson Makuei. Makuei told the media that he was asymptomatic. Among those who also tested positive is Vice President Riek Machar, who was part of the country's high-level task force to fight coronavirus and is now in self-isolation. Well, South Sudanese journalist Dennis Scopa joins me now. Dennis, thank you very much. This must be a disaster for governance in a country that's only just emerged from a civil war. Tell us what's happening.
Yeah, thank you for having me. What I can say on this COVID pandemic, which is affecting the not only South Sudan but the entire continent, we have seen how the level of the health facilities across the continent, and in particular South Sudan, which has been going through a lot of conflicts and fightings. So the pandemic has really has a negative impact on the ground. The fact that when you look at the health, the facilities, the level of health facilities in the country is really not that kind of the standard of that supposed to a country, to have. So when you look around, many people have, we have people in the displaced camps, sleeping in the tents. And when you analyze such a situation, having this virus among us, it is really going to be serious in the sense that to contain it among these IDPs, the displaced people, it will really take long, and it will be very difficult to control it,
So Dennis, tell us
the spread of the virus.
Tell us about the 10 cabinet members that have tested positive.
I don't know how this information came out about the 10 cabinet ministers. What I know is that the first Vice President Riek Machar, who came out public to the public, and he declared his status that he is positive, and the wife Angelina Tang, who is also a defense minister and also a member of the task force, and then the third person is Information Minister Makuei, who also declared his status as positive. And the rest of the other members, the former members in the task force, did not came out to declare their status. What we do know is that the Minister of Health, who is also a member of the task force, was tested and found negative. And also the Undersecretary in the Ministry of Health, who is also a part of the task force, was found negative. And the Cabinet Minister, who is also a member of the task force, he came out and refuted the reports that he is positive. So he said he is negative. So far, according to what we have on the ground, we have two ministers and one person who is, of course, the higher level person, who is the first Vice President, who's declared their status. But the rest of the members, like I've said, some were found negative, and some said they are negative. So I cannot comment on these 10, because even some few minutes ago, the higher level task force have just concluded a press conference in Juba here, and the spokesperson of the task force just told the media, the news conference, that yes, it's true that some ministers who were the members of the task force were found positive, but not all the cabinet, not all the ministers that have been around the social media.
So I think international news agencies reporting the 10, maybe some further clarity needed. But what do we know right now around the president, Salva Kiir, and his health?
And Salva Kiir is what? Come again, the president is what?
Do we know anything about whether he's tested positive or not, or has he not been in contact with anyone with COVID-19?
I cannot speak on behalf of the task force or the side of the government, but what I can say as a journalist and as a person on the ground is that the president is doing his normal business. We never heard of any report of the president confirming either found of this COVID. The whole thing is that there is some information circulating on the social media, but you cannot rely on the rumors or the hearsay unless you have to get an official comment from the government, who are the right people, either the task force, who are the right people to at least give a say on all this dispute, all this conflicting information circulating on the social media. But what I do know is that the president, like yesterday, he was in his office. We saw in some reports, and he's going about his daily activities. But of course, they have taken some precautions. There are some meetings that have been restricted, and most of the activities at the moment are not moving according to. So the business is not as usual due to the fact that the spread of this virus, and the first vice president also has been declared of COVID positive.
All right, thank you very much. That was South Sudan journalist Dennis Scopa, and this will certainly make things difficult for a unity government that's just getting off the ground. Formed early this year after a civil war, the president and vice president, political enemies, trying to work together. So bad news out of South Sudan. And Dennis, they're also talking about the vulnerable health systems as well.